Tank Tom, where are your units?
On their way.
Aren't you on the front line?
I think I've done the thing where they've all been spent. And
I think
now
you've done the thing where you've gotten yourself 71 wind turbines on the front line.
Wow. Yeah.
This is AllReasonNoLogic's road to OS 25. Join us as Tom battles to double his OS starting at 12. Hit subscribe and leave your comments and tips. To the battlefield commanders.
Alright, legends, the AllReasonNoLogic crew is here on Hella's Basin, peeking on at Tom, who drank a can of Get to the Front Line for breakfast. No greed, no hiding in the back, just raw metal chomping aggression right in the heart of the fight. If you're here for an eco sim, look away. But speaking of, the other team's highest OS player, Gentle Sloth, at a nice 31 true skill rating, is in the back line, probably getting that eco booming soon. So Tom, you're on the clock.
And that means that we charge straight to the front line.
Plenty of metal there in the middle of Hella's Basin, ripe for the taking. You want to get those res bots out early, which I'm sure is your intention. You've got creeps in your team at 28 skill. Looks like he's going to be getting his feet wet, so probably nice to see your highest OS player adjacent you taking that C position up against a skill rating about half his over in the dark red there.
The things that I like about this map is that it gives you those Supreme Isthmus vibes, but it actually plays very differently. Adding that island to the middle of the ocean and bringing 4 players right up to the front makes for quite a different front line and quite a different ocean, not to mention the geo overhang and the easy paths down the sides. There's a bit of a shorter run from some of these ocean spots into some of the back lines. A little bit less defensible, a little bit less space, and a lot more action, hopefully.
You're focusing that Lazarus straight on those mexes, trying to get the metal on their half of the map first. Probably would have gone for this bit of metal up here first if you had the micro available, but obviously APM, a thing of the start of the game there. You got those ticks in the front line, but similarly, the cream player running on by with 5 ticks, going to come across Tomcat's commander, might clean up one of those, but yep, exactly one. They're going to get through and it's going to be damaged straight away. A little bit of an error there, no LLTs in the base, and we've got the green player with not much energy, and that's going to be a couple mexes down straight away. A nice little raid on this side of the map, so things aren't looking fantastic. The wolf getting the damage in there, but putting those ticks too close to the windmills, and they have made them pop.
Really slow reaction out of Tomcats. 2 units actually came out of the base that could have been used there, but none of them were. Got to make sure that you're paying attention to what is going on, particularly when you get that damage alert.
And Tom, your team is 7% ahead on metal producing. I dare say that was because it looked like that Lazarus got every single rock in the middle, just dying the second after it claimed that last little bit of metal. Nicely done there. A little bit still on your half of the map. It's a little bit on the edge as well, actually. But nicely getting your team ahead for that little bit of a boost. Hopefully feeding the back line. Do we see any metal given? No, none yet there.
No, I think most of this turns into frontline army from memory.
Yeah, nothing wrong
Although
with
at the
that.
moment you can see that I'm struggling for energy.
Yeah, what I can see is 1,000 metal in the bank, and there are a couple players in your back line that have no metal, so this is a point I'd probably suggest giving like half that metal through to the eco player. But at the same time, you never know with these lobbies, unless you've played with a person, is it worth giving the metal up? You could probably give it to someone like Creeps just to guarantee they win that naval, but they're already doing a bit of damage here, sending a Riptide all the way into the enemy's base there, but now pulling back to reinforce with a few extra ships.
Looks like things to definitely note. You do have a res bot in your base. There are still plenty of rocks around the map to try and grab. Just setting that on a large area command, definitely something worthwhile doing.
It does look like the other team has a slight unit advantage at the moment, not pressing it quite hard enough. Good job putting down the LLT, having seen they are pushing quite hard. You really want to get that position advantage, which the red team seems to have right now. It looks like they're going to push through to this next metal spot. Do they have much build power in their backline? They do, and the Geo's almost up. How's it looking for your team? Not even started yet, so maybe this green player here, Big H, could have been getting onto that a little bit faster, focusing just on energy there and getting a few units to the front line. Not sure if that's the right move.
Decent engagement though, trading 2 for 1 right there with a few whistlers as backup. You just got to make sure that the pawns don't jump onto those whistlers, and you got to make sure you take those engagements just right. When the pawns are balled up, you can actually see the 3 behind that front line from the pink player were not firing, so you got a really efficient trade there with your units backpedaling and his running into your fire.
Yeah, that line of sight can make a huge difference. You can only shoot with the front of your ball of units, so if you can get them in those nice semicircles to have all of them firing on, if you can be firing on less units than are firing back, there's a high likelihood that you'll win the engagement.
These whistlers doing a little bit of work and actually taking out that army unit by unit slowly. I don't think even this player was really meaning to, but there's great range on those whistlers at 700 range, far outranges any of the bots.
As long as you micro them and keep them side on so they can easily turn around and make their way back if they do get charged. Whistlers are a very strong unit, but if they get caught facing forward, they can take a lot of damage in that slow turn radius and very slow speed. So they are very much so a skirmishing unit with a high micro requirement.
Tom, I'm going to pick on you. I know you're microing like crazy on the front line, but you've gone into an old mistake that we've seen you making a few extra games where you put down bulk of something, and you've put down bulk of construction turrets, putting down 4. I think you put down 1 and then you built the other 3 around it, when you definitely don't have anywhere near enough energy. Energy is low at 5 right now, but even at a max of 15, you probably don't need 4 construction turrets. 2 would have been enough at this stage of the game before getting up much more of that energy. And that beetle could be given away.
If you're looking for a ratio just to use inside of your head, if you've got less than 100 energy, then a single turret, less than 200, 2 turrets, etc. It doesn't work out exactly because different things take different amounts of energy to build, but that is not a bad ratio to bear in mind.
I think the reason that I dropped as many as I did was I was trying to spend the metal that I had. And now that I've got some wind turbines going down, you can see that that metal's dropping and the energy's rapidly coming up.
Just you're lucky, I guess, that there wasn't a real strong push on the front line, because those chokes are the things that can really turn a match. Here's a good example of what you're saying, Prey, there. The vehicles facing the wrong way. Luckily, none of them falling, but taking a lot of damage just from one volley of these rocketeers in the background there, because they couldn't turn around fast enough. So very important to keep those vehicles side on so that they can do a bit of a U-turn. Not bad trades,
Now
though.
we're seeing the other half of having all of the build turrets. You've managed to take your metal reserve from high to low, but now that they are all there, that metal is tied up in build turrets that can't actually bring their force to bear at plus 16 metal.
Going for the vehicle lab at the same time as having the bot lab, you're going to need to cancel the units and reclaim that lab.
Eat the lab. Eat the lab. Do it. There we go. There we go. Eating the lab.
I am surprised though you haven't made the same mistake you've made previously and put down like 15 converters all at once. We'll see that happen.
But you don't have any converters. Sorry, we're not trying to pick on you too harshly, but
the armies.
And let's we're not picking on him harshly at all, with 57% damage efficiency as well.
Oh, that was 10 whistlers going down to a comm explosion.
That was bad for your team, but also they did lose a comm. Let's see if you can capitalize on that and get the medal in the bank. I don't think you're going to be able to, though. They've got too much there.
Yeah, without those whistlers, that's going to be a problem.
Your comm is there.
And also, Tank Tom, where are your units?
On their way.
Aren't you on the front line?
I think I've done the thing where they've all been spent.
I think you've done the thing where you've gotten yourself 71 wind turbines on the front line.
Wow, yeah, that's a dangerous eco position you've got there with some LLTs behind it. You are putting up some LLTs on the front here, which are doing work, and it's good to see you've got. I do like the unit choice. The Janus here will scare them off. You can see how much damage just one shot per Janus does, and they should take out these last couple rocket bots, sniping them in one shot, which I like to see.
I have gotten stuck on the front line where you stay with bots, and then if the vehicles roll through, it gets real rough, and having your own vehicles means that they're a bit chunkier, they've got a bit more firepower, and you've got a little bit of breathing room once you hit the T2, because things like
Yeah.
the Janus can punch fairly well. And with the grouping of units that we had, that was the reason that I'd gone for these, because when you can hit more than one unit at once,
Yeah, the
and just
damage
keep-
can be disgusting.
Just quickly looking
Yeah.
around, the oceans on the south, your player looks like they're more in control here, having got some submarines into the background there. North, a little bit more even. Although Creeps is doing well, it looks like it's a bit of a 2-1 situation. Hopefully we can see Stump Chuggins go and do some damage with these bots out here. But let's keep attention on you.
2 versus 1 being said, sorry, just quickly, there is going to be a nice flank done by the blue player. They're moving right in behind those defenses. Other blue player.
Oh yeah, that is what you want to see, and hopefully getting to the eco there, you can see full navy being pulled north there, which is taking the energy off of Creeps. What is good as well, the Cyan player Moose Whisperer getting right in there with these bots boats down here, so should be completely winning the South Sea, and it has meant that we've got. Oh no, I thought there was some support coming there from Reds, just giving out T2, so T2 being given out by the front line. Wow, did I just see 4,500 metal on the front line? Where are your resbots, team? Oh, we've got a leak. This is not good for your team.
And unfortunately,
No.
a leak right as the green player is managing to do their T2 transition. Plenty of feed from the front line, but no units, and this is where micro is key. These tanks could have been firing on this Geo much, much earlier. Thankfully, though, for the other team, it looks like they're going to get it anyway.
Yeah, getting it down and actually taking out your T2, which is being handed off to you and not being used. So you had a
and
T2.
this-
You got to always check that bottom of the screen to see if you got any idle units.
Yes, but also I think that it's anyone who is sending out a T2 should send it out with a build order,
100%.
because that unit did not have to be there. If it had been sent out just with an area mex on the local mexes, it could have done a heck of a lot more for the other players. And that's something to bear in mind for anyone that is also trying to do this OS 25 journey. If you do end up in a position where you're giving out those T2s, rather than just right-clicking them to the space you want to go, just area mex them to the space you want to go and then hand them off. It only takes an extra second, and the difference that can make in a game is huge, because not every time a player will know they've got the T2, especially if they're microing really hard at the front lines. It's not like you're in an OS 30, 35 plus sort of game where everyone's paying attention to absolutely everything. You've got to do your little bits to try and help the team.
And you're doing your little bit here, reclaiming this metal off the front line, just constantly microing that commander. Something that you're always very good at doing is just keeping that metal coming in from the front line and making sure the commander, which is the most powerful unit in the game, is doing their thing. Did you get a D-gun off there? That is very nice, Tom.
Yes.
Very nice. So keeping
was
this
huge.
pressure
Commander
on the
even
front line.
survives most games these days too, which is an impressive
Unfortunate
improvement.
for us.
Hey, you've actually put down the right amount of converters for what you need. Good job, Tom. So things are looking a little bit better. We do have T2 on the front line out of the green player. Is there the same coming out of this team? We do have T2 Eco coming up. Zwati with a fusion on the front line and going into a second one. That's a little bit greedy in my opinion. Get the first one down, get the mexes upgraded, and just build some T2 units.
You do have to assess based on what's on the front line though, and right now they just had an attack where they saw a handful of whistlers. They've had a run by where they got into the Geo, and they've seen at Tank Tom's only a handful of Junos. Yes, it's a risk. It's a risk I'd take.
But yeah, the army they're up against has never been overwhelming.
Tom, can you see that this gauntlet is pinging at you? It's
Yeah, it's like
taking
a
off. Taking off 6% each shot.
It's fine. 6%'s nothing. That means you can
realised.
take like 14 shots.
I'm still in double digits. This is healthy.
These Mausers are doing all right on the front line there. The Whistlers giving some vision but not moving, unfortunately. And I don't mind it, because if you turn the Whistlers around,
Yeah,
the
no,
Mausers can't do their damage. And even though a few of the Whistlers fell, all the Mausers are still sitting there. So I don't
in that
mind
case, the Mauser was the meat shield, because now they can also
Whistler.
hopefully meat shield that gauntlet, and the Mausers can take it out.
Yeah.
And while this is going on, I've realized that I don't have things in front of my Janus, so they're just going to keep on rolling through.
Ooh.
These are the identifications that can make a big difference, because right now, if you get those shots off on the build power, that second fusion isn't coming up,
Yeah, there's a
and that
question.
player is
Dude.
essentially doomed for the next minute.
Yeah, perfect. This is going to get the build power goes down, and now they've got bugger all happening. Putting that greed is potentially a game loser.
And that's the thing, you have to be ready to cancel out of whatever it is that you're doing if you are going to be going into that greedy second APHIS. As soon as those LLTs happened, a lab should have been going down with units pumping out of it, the build power onto those units. You just let the fusion sit there. A trick that we got taught recently is that if you put a single builder on it with a wait command, the thing that you're trying to build will never decay. It just won't be built.
This pink player, I don't know if they're in shock. I can see their cursor moving around, but not quite knowing what to do. Definitely don't go into the most expensive builder in the game. I'd just be putting out T1 ticks to deal these 2 Janus. Just 3 ticks would be all it takes to kill them. You need 2 to distract and then 1 to do the damage and creep here.
You need 2 to try and run their own missiles into themselves, and then 1 to actually go, oh my god, creeps.
Yes. Yes.
Identifying the hole that you poked and walking through. And this is one of those things about these lower level, these lower OS lobbies. These sorts of opportunities are everywhere. You just have to be aggressive enough to try and take them.
Yeah, this is good. This is good. And I dare say the T2.
Oh, get the lab. Get the lab.
Yes.
Yeah.
Nicely done. That's a lot of middle gone.
That's huge.
Okay.
That's absolutely huge.
Yeah, you guys just need to push that advantage. Tom, you're only on 16 middle. We'll be getting the res bots out there as quick as possible, even just to construct it to try and reclaim middle. But you are still microing in the front line a little bit. Good reaction with these gunships out of the frontline player. Do you have air for your team?
Well, actually, that was one thing I was going to say just there. As an air player, you do need to play very reactively. Knowing that your front line was going for a risky play is actually part of your job. You need to have a zoomed out perspective every now, like reasonably frequently, because then if you do hear those pings on the front line, you need to swap out of whatever it is you're doing to get those air units up to stop it, because one or 2 gunships could have prevented a lot of that damage. Not all of it because of the comm coming in, but the Janus damage could have been prevented. If the Janus damage had been prevented, then potentially there were units up that could half deal with the comm. It's sort of a cascading effect, so you definitely need to pay attention to those things.
Yeah, still doing damage with your Janus there. Green players now being able to come through with T2, targeting that commander. And
you
it
can
is
see
good
what
to
those
see
gunships
that
are
air is
doing.
sitting back here.
Exactly. But unfortunately, the gunships have come in that little bit too late, and also they haven't identified that there's very limited AA. There are three Jaguars and 1 Whistler left on the front line. That is not a lot of AA. That is this entire T2 push could be stopped by air.
Yeah.
And you can even see the green player trying to call in friendly air, though not that it's going to do very much. Your team's air player does not have much air at all.
Yeah, air could be the difference here, and the Jaguars do have kind of like a T1 air. It's kind of like having a nettle sitting on the back of the trucks, so not much. You can see they're going down quite quickly.
Exactly.
Essentially, the front line has fallen. Red going into some ducks here, I don't mind it, but there is just too much Navy out of the 2 players who have dominated that North Sea, and it is good to see that you have front line control on all fronts. I wasn't looking good early on, but you're doing well now. So Tom, your early aggression and I think the identification of that.
The gap. It was finding the gap.
Yeah.
That changed the entire course of the game.
Yeah.
It was 3 Janus that basically won us this game. Identified that there was nothing in front of them, so they just kept going.
Ducks are.
Well, there were actually quite a few of those moments in the game. If you and this is something that I really do want to call attention to if anyone else is on their road to 25. The light blue player Stump Chuggins, his attack through the top of the sea, which pulled yellow all the way back, opened up the front line for creeps to push in. This win in the Navy and the smart move making in the Navy meant that comm was free to walk up onto land because there was nothing to stop it. Tank Tom gave that information by sending those Janus through and by opening the corridor up so the comm could get even further before being detected. There wasn't much of a air reaction for both the losing Navy and the front going through. This is something which will become really, really key when moving up those OSs. It is taking the opportunities that are there in front of you and understanding that the people you're playing with are not going to be perfect yet, and neither are you. So sometimes taking a risk is a really good idea. Smart plays, and the other thing is that if you can see on your team that there's an opening, there's a really good chance on a symmetrical map that opening will exist on the other side of the map too.
Yeah. Quick look at the statistics. Tom, you jumped back up to 124% damage efficiency. It was 56 when I called it out earlier, so real good improvement towards the second half of the game there, being a bit more efficient with those trades. Your eco, looking at the graphs, you can see the metal produced. Very small line at the top there, the highest metal producer at the start of the game. That's purely just getting that resbot protected by those ticks at the front game. So good getting that metal in the bank real early. The one criticism is your metal did drop off a lot, but your energy produced was actually quite high, 4th highest in the game. So definitely not matching there, and you had quite a lot of overflow that could have probably been. Actually, I should probably, before saying that, I should probably check what your overflow was. Energy produce, energy excess. It wasn't too bad, actually.
Not too bad. It's really not too bad.
5. Highest on your team, but
jumping back over to the graphs, the ones that I really want to look at, damage dealt doesn't show the best for Tank Tom. However, units killed does. And that's actually a really important thing to bear in mind. We use damage dealt graph as a very important thing, but those whistlers were getting chip damage, but it was Tank Tom's units that were going in and actually doing a lot of the bulk of it, a lot of the bulk of the actual kills. But the other really big one is damage received. On the front line, you have one of the highest damage received. And considering that you were mostly fending for other units to do that chip damage, that means that you were doing a very good job there.
Yeah, nicely done, Tom. On that note, unfortunately, we sometimes see errors in the game, and for some reason this game didn't give you a rank. It didn't class as a ranked game, even though ranked was turned on, and no rise in OS at the end of this one, unfortunately. So that's a bit unlucky. Otherwise, I think that would have been your 9th or 10th win in a row, which is hectic. Just hectic to see that many wins in a row. So really good when you're on the front line. Let's see what happens in the next one. Any last comments, gents? No?
Nope.
Nope. I think we're good.
Thanks everyone for watching. Like, subscribe, comment, tell us about some of the interesting gaps you've found in the game. I'd love to hear about those rolling balls that make it through or something along those lines. And we'll catch you in the next one. Thanks everyone for joining us. I've been Pradith.
Twig.
And Tank Tom.
And we'll catch you next time.